So, welcome back to this discussion from the Entrepreneur Games. We're going to talk about the first challenge. It's done and dusted. How I went with it,
How
and
did you go with that?
well, it turns out dropping out 1,000 flies takes a really, really, really long time.
And what's a long time though?
7,
think you
8
said-
hours. It was
Oh really? 'Cause
huge.
you said I think last time was about half day, so that's
Yeah.
like a full day.
Yeah, full day. What I did and what I found is that I went straight to all the waterfront houses, and I wanted to drop the flies in there because I was like, well, they're going to have money to be able to pay premium prices. That was my logic.
Yep.
Every one of them, not everyone, probably 80%, no junk mail,
Yep.
Australian Post only. And I was like, oh, so that's.
So did you get rid of all 1,000?
Yeah, all nearly, quite
Okay.
close. Yeah. So I didn't end up doing all 1,000 in the end. I got really close though.
Yeah.
but
Even that's impressive.
but-
But you
but-
even found 1,000 houses to give it to in that
yeah.
area.
Well, what I had to do was I had to, and I say this a lot, is you don't need the best. Like I was going for the absolute best, houses, maybe the wealthiest people. I didn't need the wealthiest. I just needed people who were wealthy enough. So then I did more in the same suburbs, but sort of more inner, like away from the water more. And then the Australia Post only, the no junk mail scaled down to about maybe 20% of people had that. So
So there's a
maybe
happy medium.
between 20 and 40.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, when in the really, really wealthy areas, 80%, maybe even more. I was just walking along and I couldn't drop any in anywhere. So it was a really interesting experience. There was one stage where there's a postman dropping off mail, and I kind of looked at him and he looked at me, and it's just like, yeah, we're doing the same thing, but you've got a bike and I don't.
And he could put stuff in where you can't.
Yeah, he's allowed to put stuff in where I can't, which was interesting too. But yeah, it was quite strenuous. A whole day of just walking around. I did it on a weekday just so less people would be around, but there was still a few people around. It was a little bit awkward at times. I found
Yeah.
if people were like pulling into their driveway and I was putting something in their letterbox, I found that weird. Like I haven't done this
Why?
before, so. Well, I don't know. You're trying to say something. You should just say it to them, but you're
that's
putting it
what
in
I
their
say,
letterbox.
like, hey, how you going? I'm dropping a thing in your
Well,
letterbox.
but they were driving they might be driving it to the back of their house, like
Oh, okay.
a long driveway. So
Just stare them down.
yeah, I don't know. I felt a bit. I wouldn't say wrong, but sometimes it felt like I was doing something a little bit wrong. Actually, no, I wouldn't say that.
Intruding on them. Or
Yeah,
something,
sort of. So, yeah, very, very strenuous. That's what I'll say, but doable. So, yeah, the big lesson there was don't always go for the top, like the wealthiest. You don't have to go for them. Go for the people who are.
Yeah, the simplest possible thing.
Yeah.
Simplest thing that could possibly work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what assumptions did you make that were kind of broken when you actually went to do it?
Okay, number one is that it won't take that long. It took probably about maybe even 3 times longer than what I thought, to be honest. Like
Really?
it was a long time. It was 7-8 hours, and I thought I'd be able to do it at all apartments. And you know how they've got all the
get rid of a
letterbox
bunch
together.
in one go, yeah.
Nah, but they big no junk mail sign on most of them, and I was just walking around aimlessly at times, and it was weird because I get excited if there was like a nice looking house. I was like, yeah, they'll have enough money, and they didn't have they didn't have any signs on the letterbox telling me to go away. So yeah, that for a day of my life that excited me. So the other assumption was that I'd get maybe 10 or so responses. I got 1.
Out of the whole thing.
Out of the whole thing, I got
So
1.
your results was 1?
Yeah,
converted
which
there?
converted,
Okay. So does that make it worthwhile if you run numbers?
Well, it's a day, and it's probably about roughly a $5,000 return if everything goes well for a year.
Well, it's a day plus each lesson.
Yeah, plus each lesson still. So, not a bad pay rise in a day's work, but not that exciting
Yes,
either.
yeah.
So.
So your results happy with, not so happy with, somewhere in the middle?
Not so happy, I would say. I'm not sure because the flies were so tiny. I think a lot of them probably would have got missed too. Whereas if you've got the bulky flyers and you're doing direct mail marketing, I think they would get a lot more attention. Because these were, small,
Yeah.
like really small. Because I was,
Plus, do you think the graphics had much to do with it?
possibly. I mean, I'm charging premium prices and
Budget flyers.
people get a tiny little flyer, but the point was just to do it and learn from it. So
Yeah, exactly.
So
how do you think you'd do it differently? Like this time was zero budget.
Yep.
So if you had a budget of say $100,
Yep.
what would you do differently?
So I think this is how we can sort of pivot into the second challenge.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to market the same service, but use maybe
In the
100.
same area?
Well, yeah. So I'm gonna try now. So we're gonna kind of go on a journey and just find out exactly how to get people to take up my offers. But I'm going to what I might do is just I'll do a web page, a basic website, one single page, and I might just do targeted Facebook advertising, so I can target locations.
Yep.
And we'll see how that goes.
Or you just have to reach more than one person.
Yeah, I need
and
to.
it's already way more success.
Yeah.
Actually, how do you measure that? You spend $100 more. I guess for the $5,000 return. But okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
So I'll talk you guys through exactly what I do. I'll do a separate video with me doing the actual advertising and all that through Facebook. And the reason I'm using Facebook is it's just so targeted location wise. I know the exact locations I want, which I'll.
So how's your budget split out? Is that $100 basically just for Facebook? You'll have
No,
to buy a
because
domain.
I'll need domain and.
You need a site made.
Yeah.
You can do that yourself. though,
Yeah,
for
I'll make
Wix
the
or something.
site. I'll make the site, but
Yeah.
whatever's left, I'll add it up. But whatever's left over can go to.
So how far do you
ads.
reckon? Say you had $80 left over,
Yeah.
thereabouts.
Yeah.
Because your domain would be about $10. But
Yeah.
and plus, I don't know how much you can spend on the site. But say you had $80 on Facebook, how far do you reckon that will go?
Well, how many people will see it, or it will depend whether I do cost per impressions or per clicks. The actual specific advertising, which I'll go through in the new video.
Yeah.
But what would be like? I'd really like. I think this is still. I'd probably like 3 or 4. A return would be a great return. I think.
Yep.
On that, because I'd make that back in one lesson.
Yeah. That's
So
true,
that's and then from then on it's profit.
So, as I say, how do you scale that though? So say you get 3 or 4, would you then try the same thing a week, 2 weeks later, and just see if you get different people, or is it just there's no way really to go
well,
after?
I guess you have validated that works as a sort
Works
of
once.
a marketing funnel. Well, if there's 3 or 4 people who take it up,
Yep.
you can assume that maybe those type of people it would work again, like the same if you did the same thing.
I guess okay.
So
Well, it's something to try anyway.
It's,
To see if it
something
does
to
work
try.
again. So what did you learn in challenge 1 that you can now apply to challenge 1.5/2?
I think I got the locations right. I think I'm happy with the local area, trying to get people to know about the service. The medium was wrong. Maybe I'm not saying direct. Like I have done direct mail advertising before, and it can work. But you need to do it properly.
Yeah.
And also
properly though,
properly
pretty
designed
flyers, yeah.
and have because with Australia Post, if they do it for you, they have access to legally have access to mailboxes you don't have access to.
Oh really?
Because if it says Australia Post only, they can put it in there, but you can't.
I didn't even know they offered a service that you could make flyers with them.
Yeah, Australia Post do
Oh
that.
really?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Learned something.
But there's other services you can use, but that will get you sort of the most penetration.
Yep. So your expected results this time was 3 or 4 people
3 or 4 people, I think. Converted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess conversions are all that matters. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if someone calls up and doesn't convert.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. So next video will be me doing challenge 2.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to see how that goes.
Thanks, guys.
See you next time.